Burlington Northern ordered 50 of Electromotive Division's new SD60s with a 3-windowed full-width cab, nicknamed a Triclops. These units were built between December 1989 and March 1990, being numbered 9200 to 9249. They were immediately put into cold service and started to replace second-gen diesels on unit coal trains. The economics of these units were good. The cabs, however, were not. Crews complained of noise and visibility issues, while maintenance complained of upkeep costs. BN listened, and their next order for 50 SD60Ms were equipped with 2-piece windshields. In 1991, EMD introduced the SD60MAC on BN's input. This locomotive was equipped with AC traction, and the 4 demonstrators were tested the following 2 years, proving Siemens AC technology. Although BN liked these, no further units were ordered. In 1992, EMD introduced the SD70, a 4,000 horsepower cousin of the SD60. Its main advantage was its electronic upgrades and refined systems compared to the SD60. BN and EMD used the SD60MAC and the SD70 to create the best and only diesel AC traction locomotive available at the time, the SD70MAC. The SD70MAC has a turbocharged 4,000 horsepower 16-cylinder 710 G3B EC prime mover. It weighs 145,000 pounds, is 15 foot 8 inches tall, and 74 feet long. The generator is a TA17-6 rated for 2600 volts DC. The 2 inverters are rated at 1430 kilowatts and power 6 Siemens AC traction motors rated at 500 kilowatts, 2027 volts AC each. The locomotive has 1 inverter per truck. Inverter 1 controls the leading pair of trucks underneath the cab, and Inverter 2 controls the trailing pair of trucks underneath the long hood. The inverter grills are visible underneath the long hood radiator grills and underneath the dynamic brake fan intake. The locomotive is controlled by an EM2000 microprocessor system, along with many other electronic systems, computerizing the whole locomotive operation. Displays are displayed to the engineer with ICE, integrated cab electronic screens. 2 of these screens can be found on the engineer's control desk. Units are equipped with distributed power and end-of-train device radio systems. Locomotive controls are mounted in a desk-style control stand in front of the engineer. This is unlike conventional control stands, which are vertical and adjacent to the engineer. The appearance of the SD70MAC is very similar to the SD60M with the 2-piece teardrop windshield. Some noticeable changes are the HTCR trucks, inverter grills on the long hood, handbrake position, lack of an external water sight glass on the engineer's side, and a space between the end of the radiator grills and the end of the long hood. Burlington Northern's SD70MACs were originally ordered in a dark green and cream white paint scheme, nicknamed Gristenstein and Cream because CEO Gerald Gristein liked the colors. This scheme was first applied onto F units BN1 and 2 for the BN Executive Business Train. The next paint scheme applied to SD70MACs was a version of the Executive scheme, with changes being the replacement of the cab side BN Herald with Santa Fe style numbers and long hood having Heritage 1 style BNSF lettering. The first fully original BNSF paint scheme to be applied to the SD70MACs was the Heritage 2 scheme, featuring the Santa Fe style cigar band on the front of the locomotive, the BNSF Herald on the rear, and yellow BNSF lettering and stripes on the sides. Macs in this scheme have had issues with extreme peeling and fading of the paint. The yellow BNSF lettering fades to an almost yellow-white. Stripes on the long hood above the prime mover peel off, revealing the primer underneath, and the once bright orange fades to a very light orange, almost pink. Few units have had minimal fading to their Heritage 2 schemes. The first patches on BN SD70MAC units occurred during the merger of Burlington Northern and Santa Fe. These units had the BN Herald on the front and rear replaced with the BNSF Circular Herald, and the BN Herald on the side of the cab replaced with BNSF-style Roman lettering. The next patches occurred between the merger and Heritage 3 introduction. The BN Herald on the sides of the cab was replaced with small BNSF Roman-style lettering. The final patch applied to BN SD70MAC is the Heritage 3 swoosh patch. The BN Heralds on the front and rear were blanked out, and the heralds on the sides of the cab were replaced with a BNSF swoosh logo. Many swoosh patched Macs did not receive blankouts over the BN Heralds because they had already peeled off. Even as early as 5 years after production, the heralds had already begun to fade. Few Macs have been repainted into Heritage 3, with most being SD70MACs. These Heritage 3 Macs have similar paint peeling issues to the Heritage 2 Macs, with the striping above the prime mover peeling off and some rust showing through. The first order of SD70MACs was for 75 units, numbered 9400 to 9474. 9401 was actually the first unit to be delivered, followed by 9402, and then by 9400. This was because 9400 was waiting for its chrome handrails since it would pull BN's executive business train. 9401 acted as a training unit to BN crews so they could understand how the new SD70MACs worked. Units numbered 9400 to 9429 were equipped with a train filter unit. It is the 74 volts DC input power filter and protective device that provides filtered power to the TEU and TSI equipment. TEU stands for Train Enclosure Unit that houses the cab consolidation computer, end of train device equipment, and a power supply. TSI stands for Train Situation Indicator, another name for the ICE computer screens. Units numbered 9430 to 9439 were equipped with wheel flange lubrication systems. This sprays lubricant onto the wheel flanges to reduce wear on curves and switches. The second order of SD70MACs was for 63 units, numbered 9475 to 9541. These units are identical to the first order of SD70MACs. The third order of SD70MACs was for only 30 units, numbered 9542 to 9571. This would be the last order of non-isolated cab SD70MACs. All future orders would have isolated cabs. 14 units from this order, 9551 to 9564, were sold to PRLX in December 2017 and served in lease service on Norfolk Southern. The fourth order of SD70MACs was for 141 units, numbered 9572 to 9712. This was the first order to be equipped with isolated cabs, and the front cab entrance was moved to the engineer's side. In addition, the former two-piece windshield wiper design was changed to three-piece. A unit to note from this order was that number 9647 never existed on the BN roster, but instead existed as BNSF 9647, painted into the experimental Burlington Northern Santa Fe scheme, nicknamed the Barf Bonnet, Vomit Bonnet, and other bad names. The fifth order of SD70MACs was for a measly 4 units, 9713 to 9716, and were specifically used in distributed power testing hauling ore trains. These units were the last units to be painted into BN's executive scheme, with the large roster number on the long hood and the BN Herald on the cab sides. 2 units from this order, 9714 and 9716, were rebuilt into SD70MAC-E's in early 2016. The sixth order of SD70MACs was for 59 units, numbered 9717 to 9775. These were the first to be painted into the BNSF executive scheme. 15 units from this order were rebuilt into SD70MAC-E's. They are numbered 9717, 9718, 9721, 9725, 9728 to 9730, 9736, 9738, 9746, 9748 to 9750, 9752, 9753, 9767, and 9769. BNSF 9749 was the first SD70MAC-E to have its cab headlight moved to the nose. All subsequent SD70MAC-E's have had their headlight moved. BNSF 9735 was involved in a wreck in Keithville, Louisiana in December 2013. It was repainted into Heritage 3. The seventh order of SD70MACs was for 62 units, numbered 9776 to 9837. These would be the last units painted into the BNSF executive scheme. Units numbered 9804 to 9837 were surprisingly equipped with fuel tender lines for use with the former Burlington Northern fuel tenders. No documentation has been found on this otherwise. The eighth order of SD70MACs was for 27 units, numbered 9838 to 9864. These were the first units to be painted into the Heritage 2 paint scheme, and the last units to have cab-mounted headlights and a standalone Sinclair radio antenna. The ninth order of SD70MACs was for 83 units, numbered 9865 to 9942 and 9995 to 9999. These units were the first to be equipped with nose headlights and GPS antenna domes. BNSF 9923 had its nose repainted with primer and its anti-climber with yellow sometime in early 2008. This is because it was probably involved in a small front-on collision. The 10th order of SD70MACs was for 130 units, numbered 9943 to 9994, 8800 to 8842, and 8873 to 8876, and 8887 to 8989. In June 2006 at Lakeside, Nebraska, BNSF 8814 was wrecked along with BNSF 5752. Within a year, it was returned to service covered in primer, nicknamed the Primer Bonnet. BNSF 8876 was wrecked in Clarendon, Texas on May 28, 2002 and was later scrapped. BNSF 8902 was also involved in that collision, but received repair work and was returned to service. BNSF 8937 has a strange coloring pattern on the non-isolated section of the nose. The very front has stayed bright BNSF orange compared to the rest of the locomotive. BNSF 8945 was given to Kansas City Southern after a wreck involving TFM 1623 resulted in it being removed from service. BNSF 8945 became KCS 3974 and was later sold to PRLX. The 11th order of SD70MACs was for 30 units, numbered 8843 to 8872. The 12th and final order of SD70MACs was for 10 units, numbered 8877 to 8886. Presently, SD70MACs are in a limbo stage, being taken in and out of storage to meet traffic demands, with only half or less being active on BNSF's roster. Main storage locations for SD70MACs are Northtown, Minnesota, Gillette and Donkey Creek, Wyoming, and Galveston, Texas. While not a specific amount is able to be determined, some Macs are being scrapped, and others are attempting to be sold. Whether BNSF will continue with the SD70MAC program is unclear, but I believe they will use the Macs until they are no longer operationally and economically viable. At that point, BNSF will most likely scrap them. They, however, may find new homes on non-US railroads such as Brazil or Chile. Modern AC traction power at a cheap price with replacement parts would be an attractive offer to any mountainous or hauling railroad. But for now, the SD70MACs will continue to help haul coal across Burlington Northern Santa Fe system, as they have done for many, many years.